Good morning and welcome to the next episode of the Grey Nomad Knits. My name is Jill and I'm coming to you from Perth, Western Australia. I hope you're all keeping well wherever you are in the world during these crazy times. You can find me on Instagram, I'm JillyMG60, or on Ravelry where I'm JillyMG, and you can find those details and those links in the show notes below, where you click the little arrow down at the bottom of the screen. I'd like to say a big welcome to a few new subscribers this week, and I had a lovely message from a lady in the UK who was very supportive, so a great big thank you to her. Oh gosh, I should have written her name down. I've already forgotten and I'm so very sorry, but I'm sure you will know who you are. So yeah, a big thank you, and I hope you all enjoy the show, and if you do, give it a thumbs up, and if you haven't already subscribed, I would appreciate it if you could click the subscribe button. I get all tongue-tied. Okay, it's a dull, gloomy sort of day here in Perth, in the northern suburbs where I live. I'm just looking out my window. I was going to film outside because sometimes when it's overcast, it's actually better light for filming. But it is a bit breezy out there this morning, and that does interfere with the microphone on my tablet. I don't have any fancy recording equipment, I'm afraid, so I just have to manage the best with what I've got. So I thought I'd come back into my little den here inside the house, where I do a lot of my knitting, and I have all my wool supplies and my sewing machine and my little workstation for all our household finances. It's all in this room. So when I get it tidied up, I might give you a tour on the next episode. That'll take all of 30 seconds. Okay, so let's get on to some knitting. I'm going to show you first my quarantine blanket, which is the blanket I'm doing, designed by Anne and Carlos. And you can find the details on their website, and I'll put the link to that in the notes below. I haven't done a huge amount since the last podcast. But I've got 3 new squares here to show you. I've actually started repeating the squares now because I have knitted all the ones up in it that the pattern required. So here's another one. I'm trying to keep it all in very autumn tones because this one hasn't been blocked out yet. So there's some lovely more flowers on there. And this one, which was actually the very first square, so I've done another one of those. I really like that one. The back of them's quite neat. I always have a few ends I have to sew in. The floats aren't too long, so hopefully they won't catch on anything. These ends here, and this one up here, this red one here, I've actually woven those in as I've knitted along, so I've only got to snip those ones off. It's usually these outer ones that I have to sew in, and I wait until they've been all sewn together and then I do it, because I usually sew them into the seams. And this one, which I have blocked, and it's really pretty, it's got the birds on it. I'm not sure if I showed you that one before. So you can have it that way, or you can have it that way. And I love that one. And I have actually sewn some together, and I will post a photo of this after, or maybe I'll post it here now. This is what it looks like. So it's actually growing, it's getting quite big. So that's 4, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 times 4, there's 24 squares there. I don't know what you can see because I can't see it. I can't see the camera, so I'm just sort of waving it around. It's going to be, as I said before, I'm not really enjoying doing that much. When I do some work on it, I just do a couple of squares at a time and then I put it away again. But I'm really loving how it's looking, all sewn together and pressed out. And I think it's going to be an absolute work of art when it's finished. I've got to keep remembering to look at the camera. It's going to be beautiful when it's finished, and I know exactly which chair it's going to sit on in our lounge room, or I should call it my hubby's TV theatre room. And it's going to be, because it's like a DK weight, which here in Australia we call 8-ply, and you get almost a double thickness because of all the floats at the back. So it's going to be really warm for those cold winter nights when you just want to snuggle under a blanket. Yeah, so I'm actually, although I'm not enjoying it, I'm really loving how it looks. When I finish my daughter's scarf, I will be putting a lot more work into this, so then it will come along a lot quicker. I'm going to keep going until I run out of the background colour, because I've got lots of leftovers of the other colours that I can use. But the background colour is the one I'm going to be short of. So I'll just keep going till that's finished. What I'll do after I sew the next row of 8 squares on, I will then just sew single rows on, so I can keep an even number of squares going. Okay, so that's that one. Next is my Kerenza cardigan by Jennifer Woodhouse from Woodhouse Knits. If you haven't looked at her pattern page or her website, do yourself a favour and go and have a look, because she has the most beautiful, elegant designs. And a feature of her designs is nearly always a beautiful continuation of the pattern down the sleeves. And this one is this cable pattern, and like I said in my last video, I am actually going to increase this pattern a little bit to give me a bit more fabric in the upper arm. There's the back. It's not a lot different to when I last showed you, but it has grown a little in length. I only have a couple more rows to do, and I'll be finished these increases down the side. So this is the underarm here, and as it goes down you can see it's increasing. I've only got a couple more rows to do and those increases are finished. So then I'm going to leave the body and do the arms, because however long I make this cardigan is going to depend on how long my wool lasts. I think I showed you last time that when I started my last ball I put in a marker, and this is the marker here. And this ball of wool is nearly finished. This is what I have left. So these rows are very long, of course, because it's the front, the back, it's the back and 2 sides. So I thought I'll continue on and do the arms. I've still got quite a few balls of wool, so I think I'll be okay. But I also have to save a ball or 2 to do the collar. It has like a shawl collar on it. Or no, it doesn't. It has like a little foldo flip collar. If worst comes to worst, I'll just finish the neckband with some rows of garter stitch instead of putting the collar on, and I think it will still look just as nice. But I would rather have the collar, so we'll just see how it goes. I could even perhaps just get a plain brown wool without the tweed in it to do the collar if push comes to shove. So that's another thought. But I'm really loving it. That's the back. This is upside down, of course. Maybe I should hold it up the right way. Expert podcaster here. So it is looking really nice. The wool is Bendigo Woolen Mills, and it's a 5-ply, which is a sport weight. And you can't actually purchase it now. I just got it from out the back of their shop in their, it's not really a chuck out room, but it's where they have all their once only type wools. If you're ever in Bendigo in Australia, in Victoria, and you get to visit the shop, do yourself a favour and go to the room out the back, because you'll get lots of treasure out there. Yeah, I just love it. This is a project that I'm loving working on. I'll be sad when it finishes, really, because I really enjoy it. I'm loving the wool I'm using, and I'm loving the pattern. I'm loving how it feels. I love the sections of stocking stitch. I find that a lovely breather in between the more complex patterns. I can't quite master the art of doing cables without a cable needle. I can when it's only like a single stitch cable, but anything more than that, I still need to use my trusty cable needle. I think I said to this lovely lady who messaged me from the UK that you can't teach an old dog new tricks. Some old dogs are good at learning new tricks, but not this old dog. So that's my Kerenza cardigan by Jennifer Wood. Now, the progress on the never-ending scarf. I've been putting a lot of work into this, and it's now the only knitting project that I'm going to work on until it is finished. I've started the last repeat, and I've got about 38 rows of the last repeat to go, and then I just have to put the border on. So the border will be exactly the same as this end. So it's just like a rib, but it takes a lot longer, of course, because you're changing colours every stitch. Look at that side, and that side's the reverse. This double knitting, I tell you, if you haven't had a go, give it a go. At first it seems complicated, but really it's not once you get the hang of it. The chart I have for this, thankfully, was available in a PDF, so I put it onto my Knit Companion app on my iPad, and that has made life a lot easier. I know exactly where I am. But I just want to hold it up and show you, because look how long it's getting. And my daughter likes her scarves long. So it just goes on and on and on and on. And I've probably got about sort of this much left to do plus the border. So I should have it finished by the next episode. I love the gradual colour changes. I don't know how well you can see. You can kind of see it here, how much darker it is at this end to this end. It's such a pretty design. This is like a collaboration between Kieran, Foley and Alisdair Post-Quinn. So you have this side. Then I'm going to flip the end up so you can see the other side. So here we have the pinky lilac-y coloured background, and the colour work's done in the grey. And on the other side it's reversed. We have the grey background and all the colour work is done in the pinky lilac-y colour. Maybe I could just sit like this and finish the podcast. How's that? Oh, it's too warm. Even though it's a grey overcast day, it's going to be 21 degrees today. It is spring here in Australia, but we haven't had a lot of heat yet, but that suits me just fine. I know the heat will be on its way very soon, and it can stay away for as long as it likes as far as I'm concerned. I'm going to be very envious soon when I see all the Instagram pics and the knitting podcasts coming out of the UK and Scandinavia and northern parts of America, when I start to see your wintry weather and all your snow. Let me know, is it lovely living in that, or for us who live in a very hot climate, do we just have rather a romanticised notion of what it's like? I guess it looks beautiful in all the pictures, but if you have to start shoveling snow away from your door in the middle of winter, or clearing away all the slurry as it melts, I don't know. Maybe it just looks pretty in the pictures but isn't so lovely to live with. Let me know in the comments if you live over there what it's like living in snow. Now, I have started something new, which I'm just working on for a couple of hours every afternoon. I want to earn myself a little bit of pocket money, so I thought so many of the stores here are now banning plastic bags. So I thought I would start crocheting some market bags. So I've started, just dropped my crochet hook, started this one. Now, it hasn't grown very much yet, so you can't really get a good idea. It's going to sort of go up like this. This is the base, and the base is doubled, so it gives it a bit more strength. This one's going to be a prototype that I'm going to use myself. So the mistakes I've already made are, I meant to have the green base on the outside of the bag and the silver base on the inside. But of course I did it the wrong way around. And as you can see, the pattern for the green, I've ended up with the silver base on the correct side, which it should have been the other way around. But that's okay, because like I said, this is going to be my a prototype, because not only am I very new to crochet, but I certainly never made anything like this. Now, I'm not really using a pattern, but I am following a tutorial on a YouTube podcaster called Bag O' Day, Her name is Crystal, and I will put a link in the show notes below. She has got something like 800 and something tutorials for crochet. Now, I looked at a lot of tutorials for crocheting market bags, and Crystal, along with one other who I can't quite remember now, but I am going to make one of her bags as well. They are the only two who I've found have really clear, concise instructions for people like me who are novice crocheters. I'm fine going across the row. It's what to do at the end, and when what hole I have to put my hook into to start the next row, all those sort of things. And Crystal and this other lady make it really, really clear. So I'll put the links to her podcast in my show notes. She's incredible in the crochet world. She's got thousands and thousands of subscribers. And you can see why, because she is a master at what she does. So I'm hoping to be able to do one of these every couple of weeks, and then, I don't know, I'll probably try and sell them somehow in a market stall or on Facebook or something. But we'll see how they turn out first. I also want to give it a couple of washes and a couple of shopping trips to see how well it's going to wear before I start making any to sell. So, but it's nice to have something a little different. I don't think I could crochet all the time because I do get a bit of I have got a sore shoulder anyway, and it tends to aggravate it a bit. So a couple of hours a day is really all I can manage on that. So I'm really enjoying that, and it's really nice to learn something new, to push the old brain cells a bit. So yeah, hopefully I'll have more progress to show you that I'll hopefully have it finished by the next podcast. So that's all of my knitting content for today. When you're just one person and you really only get the chance to sit and knit for a few hours each night, and I'm not the fastest knitter, as you all know. I do struggle a bit finding content sometimes, and that is why I'm now going to show you some footage of the lovely trip we just did down south. So that's it for the knitting content today. We just had a few days away in our caravan again, and we went to a place where we've been before called Quinninup in the southwest of Australia. So for those of you who live overseas, Perth is on the western side of Australia, so we're on completely the other side of the country to Sydney. Sydney is like a 4-hour plane flight. You can't go there at the moment because WA government won't let us back in if we go to Sydney or Victoria. We have booked to go to Brisbane for Christmas, so fingers crossed. Our daughter lives in Brisbane and we're going to go and have Christmas with her this year. But anyway, we decided to head off in our caravan for a few days. My sister and her husband also came in their new van. So we head out of Perth. We get just out of Perth and the heavens opened up. It bucketed down with rain, and I'm not going to complain because our summers are very long, dry and hot, and any rain we get now is an absolute bonus for us. So it bucketed down with rain, but of course, having said that, it's not so easy for my poor husband, who's in charge of towing this big beast behind our car and keeping an eye on the weather conditions as well. But he did an amazing job. An hour or so into our journey and the rain had stopped. And then we got down south and we arrived at Quinninup, and where we stayed is in a caravan park, and it's a very old, basic caravan park, very rough and rustic, but the amenities are clean, even though they're very dated, and they're very clean, and I just love it there. And the reason I love it is because it's full of kangaroos, and they're very tame. And what happens at this caravan park is you drive down this little road to get to it, and you like going through the forest, then all of a sudden you come out at the end of the road and it's like this little green oasis right in the middle of the forest. You're surrounded by big trees. And there was only a couple of other people there, and the next day they all left. So ourselves and my sister and her husband had the whole place to ourselves for 4 days. When I say to ourselves, I mean along with the hundreds of kangaroos and magpies and parrots, and the caretaker lives there as well. We had a wonderful time, and I'm going to show you a little bit of footage here now and a few photos from our trip. And yeah, I'll be back to see you in about a month or so. We won't be having any trips away over the next month, so I'll have to try and get out into some nice areas roundabout with my knitting and show you some nice places close to Perth. So for now, that's it from me. I hope you enjoyed watching, and I'll see you in about a month's time. Bye. Bye.